Wan sat quietly on the chair beside the hospital bed, her small hand trembling as they held onto her father's. Machine beeped softly around them, but she knew he didn't have much time left. At only 12 years old, her eyes were swollen from crying. Her father was her whole world, her only family. Without him, she had no one. Just then the door opened, and two people rushed in, Mr. and Mrs. June. Mr. June hurried to the bedside, immediately taking Wan's father's weak hand into his own. Mrs. June knelt beside Wan, gently trying to comfort the little girl as she sobbed. Wan's father turned his fragile gaze towards his old friend and whispered weakly, "My friend, you are my only hope." Mr. June shook his head quickly, his voice breaking. "Don't say that. You'll be fine. You'll get better." But Wan's father only gave a faint, tired smile. "No, I don't have much time left. All I have is my daughter. She is everything I leave behind in this world. Please take care of her, protect her." Tears filled Mr. June's eyes. His throat tightened as his wife silently wept beside him. One gripped her father's hand desperately, shaking her head. "Please don't say that. Please don't leave me. I don't have anyone else." Her father turned his gaze toward her, his voice trembling but firm. "Don't cry, my little one. Don't cry." Then looking once more at Mr. June, he pleaded, "Promise me, take care of my daughter." Mr. June's voice cracked as he nodded again and again. One opened her eyes, lying in the room, her thought drifting to her father's. Today was her birthday, yet instead of joy, her heart carried the weight of loss. She missed him more than anything. She now lived in a June mansion, and Mr. and Mrs. June had become the only family she had left. Without her father, she truly had no one. After the Junes had taken her in, becoming her guardians, her parents, her everything, they had promised her that she had their daughter and that one day she would marry their son, Jungkook. Wine had never protested. How could she? The Junes had given her a roof, a name, a life when she had nothing. She could not bring herself to refuse them when they had given her so much. In her childhood she had seen Jungkook only rarely. Whenever they did meet, he had distance, cold nature. They had never spoken, and when she moved into the June mansion he was already gone, sent abroad when he was 18 years old for studies. Wine had never had the chance to truly meet him, to talk to him, to know him. Now, on her 22nd birthday, Wine had learned that tomorrow Jungkook would finally return, not as a boy she barely remembered, but as a man of 28, trained, powerful, and ready to take his place as the heir of June Empire. A deep sigh escaped her lips as she lay back on the bed. Her thoughts thrilled with questions. She didn't even know what he looked like now, what kind of man he had become, how he spoke, how he behaved, or even if he wanted this marriage at all. And yet there was no choice for her. She never had one. With a heavy heart, she closed her eyes, surrendering to sleep. One was standing by the window, her eyes widening as she saw a convoy of black cars arriving at the June mansion. Her brow frowned in confusion. Curiosity pushed her downstairs. As she reached the entrance, a cold and powerful figure stepped out of the cars. His presence sent a shiver down her spine. and she froze on the stair, unable to move. He was incredibly tall, handsome, and his aura that demanded respect and fear. His eyes were cold, his face emotionless, yet there was an undaring intensity that made the air around him feel heavier. Surrounded by men dressed in black, their heads bowed, not daring to meet his eyes. Mr. and Mrs. June rushed forward and embraced him. One's heart skipped a beat as realization dawned her. This was their son, Jungkook, the next heir of the mafia king. Her hands trembled, a chill running down her spine. She had never seen a man so powerful, and the worst part, she was going to marry him. "My son, you are here. I am so happy," she exclaimed. Mr. Jeon smiled softly, his eyes shining with pride. Jungkook's face remained emotionless and cold. Only a flicker of softness appeared as he looked at his parents. Then his gaze fell on a small figure on the stair, Wine. Trembling slightly, his stare was intense, as if he could read her every thought. Wine immediately lowered her gaze, feeling the weight of his eyes on her. Mrs. June noticed his attention and turned to Wine with a gentle smile. "Wine, come to me." Wine flinched slightly, but began walking towards them, keeping a cautious distance. "This is Jungkook, our son," Mrs. June said warmly, "and Jungkook, this is Wine. I have told you about her, your soon-to-be wife." Wine, unable to meet his gaze, felt her mind go blank. She had imagined him being kind like Mr. June, cheerful, natural, approachable. But the man before her was cold, emotionless, and terrifying. Jungkook didn't speak right away. He only stared at her, studying her expression. He could see the fear in her eyes, the way she avoided his gaze. Finally, his deep voice broke the silence. "I know," he said coldly. One froze. This was the first time she had heard him speak, and his tone matched the cold presence he carried. She feels small, like a fragile creature standing before a towering figure. Mrs. June, sensing the tension, interjected softly. "Now go freshen up. You must be tired." Jungkook nodded silently and left the hall. The moment he disappeared, Wan's knees almost gave out. Her mind raced. How can I marry him? How can I live with someone so cold? Turning to Wan, Mrs. June touched her shoulder. "Don't you want to go to the university today, dear?" Wan nodded eagerly. Any excuse to leave the house to avoid in front of Jungkook. "I have to go. I'm going," she said quickly. Mrs. June nodded, smiling. "Let's have breakfast first, then you go." "No, I'll eat later," Wan replied, shaking her head as she rushed towards the door, her heart pounding in her chest. That night, the entire family gathered for dinner. Wan had spent the whole day at university and had returned home a little later than usual. The room was warm with soft lighting, but an undercurrent of tension lingering in the air. As everyone began eating, Mr. Jeon spoke, breaking the comfortable silence. "Now that Jungkook has returned, we should start preparing for the marriage. What do you all think?" Once froze midway. Her heart skipped. Her gaze fell to the plate in front of her. Across from her, Jungkook noticed her pause immediately, his cold yet intense eyes scanning her face. The way her shoulders stiffened, the way her eyes refused to rise. Mrs. June leaned closer to Wine, her voice soft. "Wine, are you ready for this marriage?" Wine lifted her head slowly, her lips forming a faint, hesitant smile. Even though she was scared of Jungkook and little nervous around him, she couldn't bring herself to disappoint the two people who had given her everything. Jungkook's eyes never left her. His piercing eyes studied her expression. Mr. Jeon then looked at his son. "And you, Jungkook, what about you?" Are you alright with this marriage? Jungkook leaned back slightly, looked at his father, then nodded once, his voice low and emotionless. I have no problem. His attention shifted towards wine, and she immediately lowered her gaze, unable to hold eye contact. Her heart raced, palms sweating, as she silently prayed that he won't see her fear. The silence lingered for a moment, with unspoken thoughts, Wine's nervousness, and Jungkook's unreadable stare, creating a quiet tension that seems to fill the entire dining room. After dinner, everyone went to their room. Wine lingered in the living room before quietly stepping out into the balcony to breathe in the night air. As she stepped outside, the cold night breeze brushed against her skin. But then her breath hissed. There was someone already there. A tall figure stood there already, both shoulders outlined against the glow of the city lights. His back faced her, hands tucked casually in his pocket, gaze fixed on the spiraling skyline. Her breath hissed. It was Jungkook. His back was turned, posture commanding yet quiet, as though the entire world beneath him. For a moment one froze. Instinctively she turned to leave, hoping to slip away before he noticed, but his voice cut through the silence, low and husky. Running away again? He said, his tone low, husky and cold. One froze in her spot. Her heart pounded against her chest. Slowly, hesitantly, she turned back. There was no escape. With her gaze lowered, she stepped towards him. By then, Jungkook had already turned to face her. His eyes were cold, but there was softness he didn't allow anyone to see. He began walking towards her with quiet, deliberate step. She backed away instinctively until her shoulder met the wall behind her. Once breath grew shallow. Her small figure seemed to disappear against his broad chest. Her heartbeat was so loud Jungkook could almost hear it. "Scared of me already?" he asked, his lips curling into a faint smirk, clearly enjoying her nervousness. No, it's nothing like that," Wine stammered, her voice trembling as she kept her eyes down. Jungkook leaned in closer until his lips hovered closer to her ear. His breath brushed against her skin, sending shiver down her spine. "You had better get used to this." Her lips parted in shock, her palms damp with sweat. He pulled his face back slightly, but his face remained close, so close that his breath still mingled with hers. "Because after 1 week we are getting married." Wine's eyes widened instantly. She immediately turned her head up to look at him, her expression stern. 1 week? Jacob only nodded casually, as though it were the most ordinary thing in the world. "But Appa never said anything like this," she whispered, her voice shaky with disbelief. "How could he?" Jungkook's eyes flickered with something unreadable. "That's because I decided it." Her heart dropped. "You?" His face bored into hers. "Me, and we are getting married this week." Her mind went black. Her lips trembled, words failing her. How could she possibly marry him when she couldn't even look at him in the eye without trembling? The thought of spending her life beside this man, this powerful, unreadable man, left her mind blank. She didn't answer. Jungkook titled his head slightly, studying her silence. Then he said, "Why are you so quiet? Don't you want to marry me now?" One shallowed heart, then shook her head quickly. "No, it's not like that. I'm fine," she whispered. Jungkook's lips curled into a faintest smile, but it was soft, almost teasing. "Good, then go to sleep. You have university tomorrow." One nodded earlier to escape. The moment he stepped back, she rushed out of the balcony, almost running, leaving him standing there under the night sky. Jungkook stood there, his eyes following her retreating figure, cold, intense, unwavering. For the first time, Jungkook felt something he had never allowed himself to feel before. He didn't want her to be afraid. He wanted her to be comfortable. To look at him without trembling, to speak to him without shuddering. He had always known this marriage would happen. He never objected, not because marriage means anything to him, but because he never cared about love or relationship. His world has been consumed by studies, power. But today, seeing Wine for the first time after years, seeing her innocent reflecting in her timid eyes, something shifted in his heart. For the first time, Jungkook felt something he couldn't ignore. Something about her innocence made him wanted to protect it at any cost. A week passed in a blink. Now Wyan stood across from Jungkook in the ashley. Today was their wedding day. Her heart pounded so fast she thought it might burst out of her chest. While on the other side, Jungkook stood composed. His face calm yet unreadable, a powerful aura radiating from him. The priest's voice echoed through the hall, leading the ceremony step by step. Finally his words made one's body freeze. "You may kiss the bride." Her heart stopped. She looked up at Jungkook, who remained composed, unshaken. Slowly he stepped closer. One's palm turned clammy, her breath uneven. She flinched slightly when his hand slid around her waist, pulling her against him. Then, in the blink of an eye, his lips pressed against her. The kiss was soft, unexpectedly gentle. One's eyes fluttered shut instantly, her entire body trembling. Just as quickly, Jungkook pulled away, his dark gaze softening as it lingered on her innocent face. When Wine opened her eyes, she looked up at him nervously, her doll-like eyes gaze making his heartbeat quicken. Despite himself, Apollo thundered through the hall, echoing for the newlyweds. Now Wine sat nervously in Jungkook's bedroom. She had never been in its room before. It was dark, heavy in theme, perfectly matching his personality. She had already changed out of her wedding gown into comfortable clothes and sat perched on the edge of his bed, her mind spiraling. She had never once entered this room before, and now this would be hers too. Her thoughts raced wildly. How am I supposed to live with him like this? He's so scary. I can't even stand in front of him without sweating, and now I have to spend my whole life with him. Oh God, how does every bad thing happen to me? Her chest rose and fell in panic as she tried to reassure herself. It's okay. Don't get nervous. You are strong, Wine. You can do this." But her fragile confidence shattered the moment the door clicked open. She jumped to her feet instantly. Jungkook walked in, silent, his gaze dark and intense. The way he looked at her sent a shiver down her spine. melting away every ounce of her self-assurance. Taking a bit of courage, she asked softly, "Where should we sleep?" His steps echoed as he came closer, his cold voice cutting through the air. "What means?" her eyes darting towards the couch at the corner. Jungkook followed her gaze, his jaw tightened, dared to look at that couch again. Wan's head snapped up, panic flashing across her face. I didn't mean," but he kept approaching until her back met the wall. His tall frame loomed over her, trapping her as he placed his hand on either side of the wall beside her head. His eyes locked on hers. "Still trembling in front of me?" Wan looked down, her voice barely audible. "It's not like that." He cut her off sharply. "Don't lie. I can see it's exactly like that." Then his tone dropped softer, almost curious. "What makes you so scared of me?" Slowly Wine raised her gaze, forcing herself to meet his eyes. I'm not scared." A smirk curved at his lips, sharp and knowing. "But I can see you are lying. Your hands, they are trembling." "No, they are not," she protested quickly, her voice shaking. Jungkook titled his head, his gaze unwavering. "Really?" Before she could react, a strong arm lifted her effortlessly, placing her onto the table behind them. Wine gasped, her hands clutching the edge as he leaned in close, so close, that his breath fanned across her face. His eyes darkened as his lips hovered near hers. "Still not trembling?" Jungkook's voice dropped lower, firm yet steady. "If you're this scared of me, then how will you live with me forever? Because I'm not letting you go. Not until my last breath." Wan's eyes widened slightly, her lips parting in surprise. Jungkook stepped closer, his presence overwhelming as he gently cupped her face in his palm. His cold gaze softened and his words came out quieter, almost vulnerable. "I don't know what makes you so afraid of me, but remember this, I'll never hurt you. I may look cold, I may look emotionless, but I will never hurt you. Never. Hold on that always." Wine blinked up at him, her voice trembling. "I don't know, but you are so scary sometimes. Your face is cold and all the men around you are scared of you. How can I not feel nervous?" Jungkook's jaw tightened, his voice carried weight. "They are my men. They should be scared of me. They work under me. But you are my wife, a part of me. You should never be scared of me. And even if you are, I won't let you go. You are mine now, mine forever." Wine's heart fluttered. Her chest tightened at his word. Nervousness still lingered, but something safe spread inside her too. Jungkook leaned in, his lips brushing softly against her cheek, then her forehead. Finally, he pressed a tender kiss to her lips. It was gentle, unhurried, and when he broke the kiss, his voice was deep. "Start getting used to this." Wine stared at him, her nervousness slowly breaking. A faint smile tugged at her lips. "Your family already gave me everything, and now you. I thought you had been so scary that you had scolded me, hurt me, but you are not. Thank you for giving me this, for giving me a family. I don't deserve any of it." Jungkook's eyes softened, his gaze bored into hers. "Don't ever say that. Never think like that. You deserve all of it. I don't want you to scare of me. I want you safe with me. I want you comfortable enough to tell me everything. What bothers you, what doesn't. I don't want anything less from you, Wan. Tears pricked Wan's eyes as she nodded slowly. Thank you. But Jungkook didn't let her finish. In one swift move, he scooped her into his arms. Wan gasped, her hands instinctively clutching his shirt as he carried her to the bed. Gently he laid her down, then he lay beside her. Without hesitation, he pulled her into his arms. His strong arms wrapped around her, pressing her against his chest. Wan stiffened instantly. This was the first time she had been so close to him. His cold voice cut through the silence, though it carried an unspoken tenderness. Still nervous, her heart still beat fast, but for the first time she shook her head. No. Her voice was small but honest. A small relief passed through her chest. Her body finally relaxing into his hold. Slowly her eyes drifted close, comforted by his warmth, despite the pounding of her heart. But Jungkook didn't sleep immediately. His intense gaze lingered on her innocent face, memorizing every detail. Something unfamiliar stirred in his chest as he watched her. Something inside him stirred, unfamiliar yet warm. He bent down, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. His voice was low, a promise whispered into the night. From now on, it's me. I will protect you, always. He held her tighter, his lips curved in the faintest smile as he listened to her unsteady breathing, her heartbeat still racing from their closeness. His chest rose and fell slowly, his gaze lingering on her until finally sleep claimed him too. For the first time, they drifted into sleep, wrapped in each other's arms.